Hi everybody! So I am here to finish up my animated Oscars series. Can you believe it? This is so exciting. And I said while I was watching the films of 2014 that it was one of the best years in animation that I'd ever seen. And I definitely got some pushback on that. People said, no way, no way. And now I can definitively say I've watched all of the animated Oscar nominated films since 2001. And I still think it is one of the best in 2014, especially if you consider the films that weren't nominated that were still very, very, very strong. I look at films like The Book of Life, which had issues in the storytelling, in my opinion, but it was gorgeous, and any other year that film would have gotten nominated. It's certainly better than Brother Bear or Shark Tale or some of these films that did get nominated certain years. And then you have the Lego Movie, which was a total delight. It was my favorite mainstream animated film. It was so creative, it was so funny, and that yet it had this heart to it that I thought was really charming and made me tear up, honestly. It was beautiful. This idea of a child trying to explain their world to their parents, I was really moved by. That were nominated. 4 of them made my top 50 animated film countdown. So that shows how much I really did like this year. So let's get started. The first film that was nominated is How to Train Your Dragon 2.
Cut them down! Dragon Riders coming through! Heads up! We can't fly these things! They're babies! They don't listen to anyone!
Take them down, babe!
Come on, bud! Hold on!
The sequel, of course, to the original How to Train Your Dragon film, and I think it is one of the rare examples where the sequel is better than the original. It's more epic in feel. I think the animation is better. It's not as conventional in the story. And basically it takes our characters with Hiccup and Stoic and everybody, and they're now like used to riding dragons. It's a part of the life, and there becomes this sort of threat. There's this dragon group that declares war on Hiccup and his village. And so the father, the Stoic character, is like out to defend his land and defend his people, whereas like the Hiccup character wants to use diplomacy and peace. Gets a little bit confusing. And there's this whole like colony of dragons, and like it's all sort of protected by this alpha dragon. The like invaders kind of have their own alpha dragon, and he has like the ability to sort of hypnotize, which I thought was strange and just gets a little bit confusing at times. I think this is a great movie if you have kids that are like not old enough for Lord of the Rings, not old enough for Harry Potter. Like they want an epic sort of legend type experience. The animation is beautiful. The flying scenes are so gorgeous. Like I could just watch. I love flying in movies. I love flying in animated films. Still have issues with the How to Train Your Dragon series about how it handles its female characters. I still feel like they are underused. And here we get Hiccup's mother, voiced by Cate Blanchett. And I felt like she's a good character and I liked her, but I felt like she gets let off the hook way too easily for abandoning her family. It's not even an argument between her and Stoic, basically. It's just like, well, you did what you had to do, I guess. And I don't buy that. Like, you shouldn't leave your family, especially a husband and a little baby. Very entertaining, and I still have issues with Jay Baruchel's voice, but all the other voice work I think is great and has an interesting message about war and peace that you can talk to your kids about. And overall, it's a very, very well-made animated film. The next film that was nominated is Big Hero 6.
That was amazing!
You gave me a heart attack. Clear. Stop. It's just an expression. What do you say, buddy? Whee!
And this is the 54th animated classic from Walt Disney Animated Studios, and I reviewed this on my channel. I loved this film. I still love this film. I think it holds up really well on the rewatch. It's got a lot of really unique things for a Walt Disney animated film. It's got the first working that they did with Marvel in their animated films, and it also has a urban landscape you have to really go back to like Oliver and Company to find one of their films that has that. So it was really cool for me. I think that like the creativity in San Francisco was really good. I love the character of Baymax. I think he's so charming and sweet and just wonderful. And I think the relationship between these two brothers is really endearing. And I think it has this lovely message about overcoming grief. And I think a lot of people didn't like the villain. I thought the villain was great. Like, I didn't see it coming. I thought it had an interesting motivation. I think it is very emotional. It definitely makes me cry. Also very, very funny, with TJ Miller getting a lot of the laughs. And I really like how the Hero 6 is like a diverse group for a superhero movie. You've got a black character, you've got 2 female characters, and also I think music by Henry Jackman is wonderful. His next film nominated is The Box Trolls.
Pleasure to meet you. A pleasure to meet you.
Never seen one do that before.
The Box Trolls.
This was a Leica film, and I recently reviewed it on my Family Movie Night series, so I won't go too much into it. But I really like this film. A society that has different classes, and the way you know that the people are in different classes is whether you get to wear a white hat and you get to eat cheese. And the villain, Snatcher, he wants to wear a white hat so bad. He wants to be respected, which I think is a really interesting villain motivation. Like, he's not just out there for the greed. And, you know, so there's also this message of these box trolls who on one surface seem kind of scary and different, but really when you get to know them, they are sweet and lovable. And it's totally valid to teach kids about that we have these labels, and we have, whether it's like these, you know, sneakers, or whether it's whatever it is that we differentiate ourselves by our clothes or by our cars or by whatever it is. And suddenly got like a feel, if you have a kid who loves like ooey gooey kind of gross kind of things, and I totally know lots of kids who do. And so to me it fit that kind of sensibility of being like, ooh, you know, sort of. And I thought the voice cast was all really strong. I like Ben Kingsley. Overall, I think it's a lot better than people give it credit for. I do. I think the story's a little bit predictable. The ending isn't 100% satisfying. I think the lead character, Eggs, is a little bland, and I don't really like the drag queen song that they do. The next film is called The Tale of Princess Kaguya. And this is from Studio Ghibli. This was the 8-year project by director Isao Takahata. And this is the director of Grave of the Fireflies and some other great films from Studio Ghibli. And this is a challenging film. This is a film that every time I watch it, I like it more and more and more. It's a film that really requires some work to enjoy, I feel like. It's not something that's going to entertain you, you know, like some kind of like Big Hero 6 or a story about a bamboo farmer who finds a princess in a bamboo, and he takes it home and it kind of morphs into a baby, then up raising the baby, and then he finds this gold and he finds these silks in the bamboo, and so he decides that that's the god's way of symbolizing that this girl needs to become a princess. It's basically a story about how like she ends up sort of being obedient to her father at the cost of sort of everything, her whole soul and her whole life. And, you know, in a Western film, we have Ariel and Mulan and these characters who are, you know, defying their parents and you know, being independent and everything. But this is a different kind of character. This is a character who chooses to be obedient. So beautiful. The animation is like, literally you could take every single frame of this film and you could like put it on a wall and frame it as art. It's really a lot like Bambi, I feel like, whereas, you know, like Bambi, there's not like a strong plot. It's just like a bunch of like scenes from the life of this prince basically growing up. Or Bambi has like him skating, or Kaguya has her like picking melons and things like that. And then it gets darker as the movie kind of goes along, just like Bambi. Said it takes effort, but I think you will really have a rewarding experience if you watch it. And I think the music by Joe Hisaishi is one of the best scores as far as the way that it enhances the movie that I've ever heard. Like, that's not hyperbole. Like, final film is called The Song of the Sea.
On the shell, the song of the sea, neath the pole of the...
This is an ancient shell that my mother gave me a long time ago. Hold it to your ear and listen carefully. You will hear the song of the sea.
It is a film directed by Tom Moore, who did The Secret of the Kells, and I reviewed this previously on my channel, and in fact it made me cry for the first time on this channel. And it basically tells the story of this little boy named Ben in Ireland who has lost his mother, and he's just sort of bitter and angry about it. And his sister, who won't speak, we find out is a Selkie, and he feels sort of bitter about the sister. And towards sister named Saoirse, they end up getting taken to London, so they have to go on this journey to get her back so that she can get back to her Selkie suit and not die, basically. And there's this adventure with this owl witch and these different prophets, and it's really exciting, and the animation is stunning in hand-drawn animation, and the music by Bruno Calles and Kia is beautiful and haunting, and there's just this sense of a child coming to terms with the death of his mother, and that just moved me so much. And I thought of my cousin who had passed away and her little boy, and at his funeral, and him like wondering, why did this have to happen? And there's a moment in the film where he has to truly say goodbye to his mother, and he gets sort of that opportunity, but also like has to experience that, and it's so moving. And I just love this movie so much. It made my top 10 in my animated countdown. That's how much I love this film. I think it is a masterpiece. There isn't a scene that I would take out. Available on Amazon Prime right now. If you're an Amazon Prime member, you can stream it for free. So definitely watch Song of the Sea. 5 films for 2014. I think these are really different, really unique, really fun. It's a great list of nominees. I think that Song of the Sea should have won. I think it's the best one. But we knew that it wasn't going to win because it was so small. But if that or Kaguya wasn't going to win, then I think The Big Hero 6 should have won, and it did win. Because I think out of those 3 mainstream films, I think it is the best. I really do. I think it has the most heart. I think it's the most creative. I think the animation is beautiful. And I just have some issues with sort of the storytelling and How to Train Your Dragon 2 with the alphas and everything, and sort of the way they handle the mother character that, for me, just put it slightly below, but I still think it's a really good film. It's my thoughts of 2014. Let me know what you think of these 5 films in the comment section below. Let me know what you think of these 5 films, and if you think the right film won. And please subscribe to my channel, and thanks so much. And I appreciate you watching this series. I've had so much fun doing it, and I have a playlist of all of the years that you can check out. And thanks so much. Talk to you later. Bye.